This would have been your view as a player in the foggiest NFL game ever. And while this historic 1988 Fog Bowl in Chicago became, well, less of a football game and more of an expensive ticket for fans to yell at the clouds, the challenges presented by this weren't even close to some of the worst weather conditions that NFL players have faced. And, you might want to watch out for that blindside linebacker, bud. So today, we're looking at the most brutal weather conditions in NFL history, from blizzards to plague-like rainstorms, and simulating what it would be like to be on the field through this. So, if you're sane like me, you watch football safely from the confines of an apocalyptic bunker through an old TV. But not all football fans are sane, specifically the Bills Mafia, who would willingly sacrifice their firstborn to throw themselves through a folding table in sub-zero snowstorms. So while it should come then as no surprise that some of the NFL's wildest weather games have happened in Buffalo, it's actually not just the snow that puts the stadium on the map. Which is why for the first element, we're looking at the windy game. So the Buffalo Bills played two divisional home games in 2008 and 2021 against the New England Patriots, and in both of these, there were record wind gusts upwards of 50 miles per hour plus. This significantly impacted the flow and play calling of each game, decreasing the passing game and increasing rushing attempts. And especially unfortunate for the Patriots, they played both of these games without Tom Brady, and to showcase Bill Belichick's general lack of trust in quarterbacks not named Tom, this was the highlight reel for Matt Castle in the 2008 game. And this was the highlight reel for Mac Jones in the 2021 game. And that was it. That was the highlight reel. Well, except for Matt Castle's awesome pooch punt here, which was maybe just helped a smidge by the wind. But just look at the passing stats for Matt and Mac. I mean, 8 pass attempts for Castle makes sense given the conditions, but does that say 3 pass attempts for Mac Jones? You might think that that's bad, but at least his completion percentage was better than going 1 of 13 passing. That is a real stat line, and this historically bad performance came by former 49ers quarterback Cody Pickett in a wildly windy 2005 game in Chicago that saw 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And even though his completion percentage was only 7%, his one completion did go for 28 yards, so, I mean, he has to feel good about that. Now, while quarterbacks do have it rough, that's nothing compared to what the special teams units go through. I mean, we're talking anything from the shanked punts here to bent field goal posts, missed field goal kicks. I mean, what in the world is going on here? Now, to be fair, take my poor field goal kicker here. The winds are ripping right now. What do you want him to do about this? You better make this. There is nothing more beautiful than seeing full-grown men making millions of dollars sliding around having a good time. Fortunately, these guys never had to play in the prehistoric NFL days where fields could look like this, and so then the players would look like that. Straight out of a horror movie. And yes, this punt literally just got stuck straight in the mud. In fact, in the infamous Mud Bowl game where the Steelers beat the Dolphins 3-0, the only points didn't come until 17 seconds left in a game that saw the field get literally torn to shreds. But hey, at least they weren't this guy hand scooping water out of the bleachers, or this guy driving a cart through a literal flash flood. And oh yeah, fun fact, in this tsunami-like rainstorm of a game between the Seahawks and the Chiefs in 1998, there were 9 total turnovers and around 4 inches of rain fell during the game alone. In fact, this weather system was so devastating not only to the game but to Kansas City as a whole that the National Weather Service has a full write-up on the event. So far we've seen that heavy winds and rain are not typically the most kind to offenses or your fantasy team's performance, but there is one surprising element where some players perform at a higher level than you might think. And yes, I'm talking about the snow. And you're probably thinking, are you kidding me? Nobody plays better in the snow. But I'd point you to example 1A with LaShawn McCoy. So in a game against the Detroit Lions in 2013, battling 8 inches of snow, LaShawn McCoy set a franchise record with the Eagles for most rushing yards in a game at the time with 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then, in 2017 with the Buffalo Bills, he hit the Vince Carter, had one more in him, and once again in the snow rushed for 156 yards and a game-winning touchdown against the Indianapolis Colts. And that does call for snow angel celebrations. An interesting aspect of snow games that actually goes under the radar is the defender disadvantage. It's challenging for defenders to rush the passer as effectively in snowy conditions, as well as getting good angles to pursue runners in the slippery snow. So this can actually help bolster a running game. Which, if we're talking about runners, a snow game was the creation of Tom Brady. Just a few months after Jordan Hudson was born, Bill Belichick unleashed Tom Brady in the 2001 AFC Championship against Oakland, having him pass 52 times to total over 300 yards in a heavy snow game. Mac Jones only wishes. So you walk onto the field for a pregame routine, and then you realize the 12 layers you put on still isn't keeping you warm. That might be because it's below 0 degrees outside. Well, welcome to the life of Seattle and Minnesota in 2016 for a NFC wildcard game where it was -6 degrees outside with below a -20 wind chill. You know, the one where Blair Walsh missed a 27-yard chip shot to lose it. I mean, the body blows, an icy field, and the cold literally freezing the quarterback's mouth, making it hard to communicate, were just the tip of the iceberg here. In a more recent AFC wildcard matchup in Kansas City, the poor Miami Dolphins are subjected to kickoff temperatures of -4 degrees and also a wind chill below -20. So spectators experienced everything from cracked helmets to icicles in Andy Reid's beard, fans going home with frostbite and less fingers than they started with, and Taylor Swift comfy in her heated press box seat. And if that's not cold for you, we can go all the way back to the 1967 Ice Bowl game at Lambeau Field that saw temperatures get down to -13 degrees. That's a record low that does still hold today. We're talking everything from refs' whistles frozen to their mouth, heated fields malfunctioning leading to a literal ice rink, and with all the health hazards associated in these games, it is clear that this is the least desirable and just flat out the most brutal weather type to have played football in.